This is the Paranormal Report. Indeed it is, and Dar just hit her mic. How are you today, Dar? How are you today, Dar?
I don't know. Are we having any more loud booms this morning?
Well, yes. Speaking of noise, it's 21 degrees here in northeastern Ohio on Wednesday, March 18th at 9:31 a.m. And somebody's out with a leaf blower. So if you hear a leaf blower, you know there's an insane person outside with a leaf blower.
I hope they're blowing the snow because there's still snow.
Yeah,
in
literally,
parts of the ground.
little pieces of snow there. Yeah.
Yes, there's little touches of snow because we had like, oh, did it come down yesterday?
2 weeks ago, I was out in a park.
With shirt sleeves.
No, but I mean, I think I had like
a couple days ago a
long sleeve shirt on. It was ridiculous.
It was 75.
It's the whole country too. It's not just here.
Yes,
but there's one thing you kind of referenced it. There's one thing that's not all over the country. Just lucky old Cleveland. Well, I guess we are lucky in retrospect. Tell folks what happened yesterday on Tuesday, March 17th.
Yeah, I'm shocked this wasn't more in national news. But anyway, you and I were just sitting on the couch. You actually got a very late start because you're usually...
it was 8:50. Yeah, it was 8:59.
Yeah, having a cup of coffee.
Then something
right?
happened. Something happened.
Yeah, we hear a ginormous boom, like something crashed into the house, something like on the roof. I was like, oh my gosh, because was it the day prior or 2 days prior, we had that bad windstorm and a shutter broke in half on our house.
Yeah.
So we're like, now what?
It could have been a lot. It could have been a lot worse. So we're thankful that's all.
No. We're thankful. We are. But I'm saying, so we're like, what now? What? What's this boom? Did a tree fall on the house? What happened? Oh my gosh! I ran outside. I was looking around the back. You were looking around the front. Found nothing. You texted the neighbor. They said they heard it. I said, yeah. Well, that doesn't.
Yeah,
we thought that doesn't mean anything.
I thought either a tree hit the house or maybe a car ran into the house, which would be tough to do, but could be done. Because
it was kind of shaking, not shaking a lot, but like it there was a boom. Yeah,
it was very jarring. You're kind of sitting there, it's quiet and
very loud.
We're reading our news articles or whatever. So anyway, started looking around and started listening on my scanner. I have one of those scanner things. And these people started talking about, I heard it here in Westlake, and I heard it in
Amherst and
Norwalk
Vermilion.
And Vermilion. And I was like, that must have been a heck of an explosion. And you were downstairs and you were watching TV and
no, I was not. No. What happened was the Ring doorbell.
Oh yeah.
Everybody and their brother started posting on the Ring doorbell. What was that? Did you hear this? Was it an explosion? It led to all the local police departments putting out like, we know there's a boom. Please stop calling 911. We don't know what it is. Yeah.
That's reassuring.
I know, right? I tried to put a tip into the local news station, couldn't get it to go through. Then they came on because you said turn on the news. Maybe they're saying something. Turn on the news. They didn't know. Well, the meteorologist was on and she was like, we know, we're getting reports. There's a boom. We don't know what it was. It's from Brecksville. It's somebody in Cincinnati heard it.
Yeah. Well, I heard up here it was heard from at least from Vermilion, which is far, far west, to Ashtabula, which is far, far east.
Correct. And then Pittsburgh. It turned out after the fact that it was heard in 10 states and part of Canada and seen. So go ahead, Jim. What was it? It was an alien spaceship.
No, it was a meteor that basically exploded over the Cleveland area, over the lake, right? And they do believe in Medina County, which is not our county, but not that far away, that there might actually be pieces of the remains of this meteor. But I think it actually wasn't mainly over the lake.
That's what they had said because the trajectory was over the lake, I guess. Mm-hmm. It was traveling, what did I say? Like 40,000 miles per hour or something. It was insane. 7,000 tons. I know there's different reports. You had heard 17,000, but everything I'm seeing this morning is still indicating 7. Does it really matter?
On my scanner, I heard supposedly astronomer saying that it was 3.8 by 1.8 kilometers before it exploded. I mean, that would have pulverized the city if it was that, because he was saying it was much bigger than was being claimed. So, and I don't know if that's true or not, but the point is it was big. And thank goodness it disintegrated largely before it hit here. Because just think of, I mean, there was a case in 1908 in Russia where a meteor hit and it basically was like a nuclear bomb went off. It was like a nuclear bomb went off. But go ahead,
our local station is bringing up a very, very good point that you and I talked about yesterday. Why was there no warning for any of this? How come they didn't know about it? Really?
Yeah, there's
NASA?
a program.
You didn't know
NASA
about
has
it?
a program to monitor these kind of things. Interesting, we didn't end up knowing about it.
Yeah, there was no warning. So that's what one of the local stations is now reporting this morning. They're like, why wasn't a warning put out? Weren't we, like even the fact we get warnings a lot of times I see across the country that, this is going to re-enter the atmosphere.
Right.
But it'll land in a desert but why they weren't tracking this thing? So of course, and I don't like using the word conspiratorial because I don't think I am, but as untrusting as I am, was it really a meteor? Are they going to find remnants? Because they're saying, now everybody's searching for the remnants in Medina County. Well, who's searching? They said NASA's going to go search. Why? Well, what are they going to find? And it probably was a meteor. Okay. I'm just going to say it. It probably was. It landed, it was a meteorite, probably. But what if it was some kind of UAP that crashed? Or what if it was some other, I don't know. You don't know. We're not going to get the full truth. We never do.
Well, I just pulled this up now. This is from fox8.com, and we can include a link in the show notes. Bill Cook of NASA's Meteor Environment Office in Alabama said, based on the energy unleashed, this object was about 6 feet in diameter and had a mass of about 17,000 pounds, about 8 tons. It said it may have been traveling as fast as 40,000 miles per hour, about 50 times the speed of sound. He said, so it started above Lake Erie and headed south towards Medina, Ohio, and it broke apart just a little bit north of Medina. And when it did so, this 6-foot hunk of rock unleashed an energy of about 250 tons of TNT. He said that based on the initial mapping of its trajectory, it shows that the meteor may have come from an asteroid belt somewhere between Mars and Jupiter, about 200 million miles away. Man, but it just shows you, the point that I made, I was talking to somebody yesterday, how little we are in control. We think that we are in control, like we're in control of our lives. And certainly there's things I believe in. I'm a big believer in personal responsibility. But at some point, it's not up to you. I mean, if a piece of this meteor would have come through our ceiling, we would have been done. And there wouldn't have been anything we could do about it. No warning, no nothing. You don't know from minute to minute, from hour to hour, from day to day. And that's why it's important to enjoy the time you have, because you don't know when it's going to come to an end. Certainly, I believe there's an afterlife, but I'm talking about the here and now. So just kind of a reminder, we're not as in control as we think we are.
Scary. The whole thing was scary because you didn't know what was happening. And then it's fun this morning. What did we see in the sky this morning, Jim? How many?
Lots of planes with contrails, but I'm not going to say it's connected.
You're not as conspiratorial as I am.
I did a whole series on conspiracies and things, and you're more conspiratorial than I am.
Because I don't trust any of these people. I don't. And people that blindly trust what they're being told, it's like, what am I in Catholic school again? You must do it this way. You must believe it this way. You must regurgitate the answer right back to me. And I think because I had 12 years of Catholic school, I'm done with that kind of thinking. It's like, don't tell me, give me facts. And then I think I'm smart enough to kind of form my own opinion and decisions about the things. So, and I know I just don't trust. I don't trust. I don't. And we've had a history where you can't trust. So.
Yes. True.
Okay.
True. Well,
Jim's
here's
like, I'm not going there, babe. He's like,
here's another.
I'm making him red.
here's another thing you might not be able to trust if you believe this documentarian. Again, I'm going to preface this with this. This makes some heavy allegations. I'm not here to say that they're true or they're false. We're reporting what has been reported here. But apparently, there's a new documentary out. I think the last few days it was premiered at South by Southwest, that huge festival down in Austin. And essentially, they're saying the 1967 Bigfoot film, Patterson-Gimlin, we've all seen it many times, was a big hoax. And they said that they have found some film footage locked away in a safe for decades. And now the truth can be known that it was a incredible hoax, says director Mark Evans. He said, and this is from People, and we'll have a link in the show notes. I think for a lot of people who have so much history and belief tied up in this story, it's going to be really hard to accept. And apparently what happened is that there was some footage that came to light that had belonged to a gentleman who was connected to Patterson. And essentially what they're saying was it was basically a film of a dry run, of a practice session of this. Evans said it took me maybe 9 months to realize what we really had. Who was able to determine by markings on the film that the footage had been shot in 1966. The Patterson-Gimlin film, the one that we all know was shot in 67. What we eventually found is that this represented a trial run, a rehearsal that was never discarded. And again, that is according to him. Now, the thing is a couple of things. First of all, there was Roger Patterson, who died a few years later of lymphoma, I believe it was. And the claim here is that he knew he was ill and was going to die, and he was trying to find ways to generate revenue for his family. Also involved is Bob Gimlin. Now, let me say this. I've never talked to Mr. Gimlin, but I know people have had, and people tell me that they believe he's as honest as the day is long, that he's a good guy and he's very credible. And also, this mentioned someone I have talked to. I don't know if you know this, Dar. Bob Hieronymus, Dr. Bob, who has been on the show. He sent me some nice souvenirs, remember? He sent me the Ringo Starr shirt and the Willie Nelson wig. I thought
it was really his hair.
I don't know that I think it was
braids,
like
wasn't it?
I don't think it was really his hair. I think it was like a souvenir or something. But he sent me a bunch of stuff and books and stuff. Nice guy. I've talked to him 2 or 3 times. Very nice guy. In fact, I think one of his van or something was displayed at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame one time.
Yes.
So what we have to remember, is when you make these kind of accusations, you are talking about real people and people who are still living too. And Patterson can't defend himself because he's been long dead. So I'm not saying one way or the other, but, I've seen things like, the final verdict. Well, no, it's not the final verdict, because how do we know that what has been produced is real? Maybe this is a hoax. I'm not saying it is. It could be real. I mean, it could be either way. But I think you have to be really, really careful. And I think with the mainstream media, they love this. They're like, there it is. It's a hoax.
There's none.
It's all a hoax. For his part, this exactly plays into it. Here's the last paragraph or 2 of the article. Asked if he believes his documentary will finally force people to admit that Bigfoot is nothing more than a mixture of folklore, misidentified animal sightings, and deliberate hoaxes, Evans isn't optimistic. Well, that kind of tells you where the author of this article is.
So it's no different than journalism, where you have a bias already and you're just proving your bias.
Right. So anyway, Evans said, I certainly wasn't some skeptic who set out to prove it wasn't real. We were just focused on telling the story about the Patterson film. But I think for a lot of people who have so much history and belief tied up in this, it's going to be really hard to accept. So I'm not saying he's right. I'm not saying he's wrong. But I am saying that when you make these kind of accusations, you better have the proof. So
I have a question.
It remains to be
how
seen.
old is this filmmaker? Do we know?
I have no idea.
What's his name? Mark Evans?
Mark Evans, Marq Evans.
Why now?
Well, because it was in the family and the person had just came to light, and they came out because there was a concern, I think, of the gentleman who did this. His wife said, lock this up. You know, you were involved in this, just lock it up. And it came through the family. I don't know if they're both deceased at this point. And I think it was a daughter, it says in the article here, who wanted to get this information out. Yeah. All that began to change in June 2024. Evans, who has directed a handful of critically acclaimed documentaries, received an email from a part-time instructor named Teresa Brooks at Olympic College, where he teaches courses in documentary filmmaking. After her father's death, she found a canister of 16mm film that had been sealed away for over half a century. She needed help getting it developed and wondered if I might be interested in doing something with it, which is interesting. She must have known what was in it. But again, I don't want to say she's wrong either, because again, you get in a very slippery slope.
She wasn't around.
I mean, I don't know.
No, these are just questions that pop into my head.
Just asking questions.
Because this is the line in the article that annoys the you-know-what out of me. Realizing he had physical evidence that finally put to rest the question of whether Patterson's creation was a hoax. Evans knew he had the makings for an explosive documentary. How do you really know you have the evidence?
Well, actually, what I think I might.
How do you really know?
I gotta look and see. I might try to get him on the show. I'd be very interested. But go ahead.
No, another question then. How do you know your evidence, your final evidence? How do you know that was made as the film, or not maybe after what they saw and they did a recreation of what they saw? Right?
It's an interesting point. I
how do you
know.
You don't have any idea what this is. You know who has it? The people that are gone. They know. That's it.
Well,
that have
actually,
died.
Hieronymus and Gimlin are still with us. But the point being,
so is
he
Gimlin
said in this article
film saying, "Yep, it's all fake."
No, no, he wasn't.
Okay.
So, but the other piece is that in the article it says they know that it was shot in 1966. Now the question is, how do they know that? Because film can be, marked a certain date, but does that mean that it was shot? Unless it was, because she said it wasn't developed. So, I mean, it could have been old film stock that, to your point, could have been afterwards, or could have been, it could have been shot later in 67. I mean, I don't know. I have to watch the documentary to have any kind of sense of it. But again, I feel the jury is still out one way or the other on this, is my point.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a hoax. I don't know. I'm always asking. I play devil's advocate all the time, because when anybody ever says something is absolutely definitive, it usually isn't. Yeah. There's always loopholes. I think they're saying that what happened to the suit, and he said that the son told him he saw his dad burn the suit behind the family house one night. But How old was he? He could have been a little kid. You don't know what your dad was burning. You have no idea what was going on. I don't know. But you know what I'm saying? It's like the game telephone, right? You start with a statement, and then you pass it to that person, and that person changes it a little bit, and it gets distorted. So, like I said, the only people that really know if it's fake are the ones that made it. That's it.
Yeah, that's true. That's
it.
But something, not having definitive knowledge, but someone has a strong suspicion. And I have a suspicion, even though he claims he doesn't, I think he knows more than the average Joe or Jane. Tell us who that is.
Yeah, well, we have from the Hollywood Reporter this week, Steven Spielberg was asked whether he believes in the real life existence of aliens before his new movie Disclosure Day comes out. And this is his quote. He says, "I don't know any more than any of you do. But I have a very strong suspicion that we are not alone here on Earth right now. And I made a movie about that." So that was an interview that he was doing at the Southwest Film and TV Festival in Austin on
Why
Friday.
does he have such a strong suspicion?
Well, that's what I'm
my
wondering,
question.
right?
Yeah.
Right?
Is it just the stuff that we read and we see, or has he read and seen different stuff? I bet you he has.
Yeah. Well, he's upset though. He said he's never seen a UFO himself, and he's really upset about that. And I like his quote. He says, quote, "I made a movie called Close Encounters of the Third Kind. I haven't even had a close encounter of the first or second kind," he said. "Why haven't I seen anything? Half of my friends," I like this one, "half of my friends have seen UFOs or UAPs. Where's the justice of that? If you're listening out there," he said, "I'm not afraid of any aliens. I have no fears about that whatsoever. I think our movie does take into consideration that social dislocation that could occur. If it was announced there is interaction with aliens that have been going on for decades, it's going to cause a disruption in a lot of belief systems. But I don't think it's a lethal disruption at all."
Interesting.
Yes. So I'm with you. I think he does kind of know something.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
I mean, his movies are unless he's like he does also have like a massively phenomenal imagination, and he's very
Right.
he's just a phenomenal filmmaker.
Yeah.
But I don't know, don't you think? I mean, how do you know, how do you get it? I don't know.
Yeah.
There's I guess we should just entitle this conspiracy. No, I don't know.
Did I just hear, isn't there a tornado drill this morning?
Yes, in Ohio.
It's getting really weird because I thought I heard something.
Bigfoot, we have Bigfoot sightings, we have meteors, and now tornado drills.
Well, hold on. Yeah, the tornado sirens are going off now.
Oh, I hear that now. We've got leaf blowers, tornado alarms.
It is just weird. It just feels weird.
It's a test. It's just a test.
Well, the thing was, I was telling you, and I mean, we're running long, so we got to move it along.
I know.
I'm
sorry.
But no, But I was going to make a point. Just now, it's really wailing.
Now it's really loud.
And I've got
I shouldn't laugh. I'm glad they work.
I got a phone call from Seattle. I don't know what that's all about. Anyway. The point being that, this is only a test. This is a test of the statewide tornado alert. That's probably what that phone was too. But the weird thing is that I feel very out of sorts. And what it reminds me of, I was but a young lad, a teenager, a very young teenager. I might add, in 1985, I think it was, when we had an earthquake here, a substantial earthquake. And it was very unusual because you don't expect it for Cleveland. And this reminded me, I felt out of sorts. I had the big project I was working on yesterday and had to get it done, but I could not focus. It was just so weird. I just felt it just was like like a little mini existential crisis. It
was. It threw us off all day. But yeah, so just weird stuff's happening.
Weird stuff. Speaking of weird stuff, I think we talked about this, like Mark Christopher Lee. He had made those claims that President Trump was going to come out and tell all about UFOs and make a big speech and a big announcement. And then he came back and said, well, I was misled by a source. That's right. That's what he said, right? Basically.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Well,
I didn't find that part, but yes.
This is from, anyway, what he's saying here, and it doesn't mention that.
No, it doesn't.
But
he's coming clein about who his source was, supposedly.
Is Inkl, I-N-K-L, which I've never heard of. There's speculation here that the person who was his source might have been aerospace entrepreneur Robert Bigelow, who's been very involved with this question with Bigelow Aerospace and so forth. He's just been kind of in the middle of all the UFO stuff. And the host proposed that billionaire aerospace entrepreneur Robert Bigelow could be linked to the information leak. Lee did not confirm the name, but admitted the description closely matched his elusive source. So we're not saying it was Bigelow, but this article kind of speculates that it might have been Bigelow. But the point is he came back, a week ago or something, and said...
Well, he said he was being threatened. I wish I could find that article, but it is so hard to find.
But we're not saying Bigelow did anything. Let's be careful.
No. I'm just saying he went back.
He's a billionaire. We don't want to upset him.
Christopher Lee went back. He said he's received a series of disturbing anonymous emails appearing to warn him off.
Christopher Lee. Christopher Lee used to be in Dracula
I said
movies.
Mark Christopher Lee. I said Mark.
Okay. Remember Christopher Lee and Peter Cushing?
Okay.
Anyway, go ahead.
And then you're telling me I'm talking too much and we're this is running long. Okay. One message, Mark Christopher Lee said, was sent from what he described as an untraceable privacy-focused domain read, quote, "I'd suggest you tell your source to come forward sooner than later. There is a move to stop this announcement. It is much safer to flood this information out now."
Yeah.
Lee felt that the warning suggested powerful interests were attempting to derail the announcement. He said the intimidation only reinforces that we are touching on something profound. So this little thing came out, and I'm going to find the actual link to that source. That came out, and then what you're reporting came out saying he was misled by, and he doesn't name Bigelow, but basically it's Bigelow.
That's the speculation. That's the speculation. Let's be clear.
We're clear. Alleged speculation.
Yes,
are we good?
Exactly. We always say alleged speculation. We don't know because we don't.
We don't know. I never purport to know.
What we do know.
Ask questions.
What we do know, just asking questions. What we do know, this next story is pretty disturbing, actually. Seriously.
Yeah, I really, really questioned putting this one in because I read it and I was like practically in tears. So sad. But believe it or not, this is from the Telegraph, .co.uk. Women are being burned at the stake in like modern day witch trials, and it's at an epidemic level. Believe it or not, in today's day and age. They did this huge story. I am not going to go into all of it, but they do interview one of the people that was helping, like who led a mob to burn at least 9 different, quote, sorcerers. And this is all happening in Papua New Guinea. And they just they kind of went on a what they call witch hunt, basically, but they use the word sanguma, and they feel those people are sorcerers, mainly women. I think there was only maybe one man that was done. And they would take these women and they wanted to force a confession. They would tie them up to trees. They were basically physical and sexually assaulting them, burning them with prods, just horrible stuff. And this is stuff you don't think is happening now. You think it's like historical and it was happening way, you know, way in the past, but apparently it's still happening in this world, which is really scary. I suggest you read the full article to get a real sense of what's actually happening. They did say, you know, finally the Catholic diocese sets they're operating a safe house and trying to help those who've been targeted now. They said in the first 9 months of 2024, they've helped 96 people stay safe, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. Horrible things. They show some pictures here of these women who did survive. Just horrible things that they were doing to them just because they felt that they were sorcerers, that they were witches, basically. The one lady said they started burning me. They burned every single part of my body. She was tied to a tree for 2 days. And neighbors and relatives used hot iron bars to scorch her legs, stomach. Oh, you don't know what they did to these poor women. You really don't know. And they said they wanted her to identify the accomplices, and she just started throwing out names to stop the pain because she was in such pain, and the violence was just...
how terrible.
Yeah. She said she was afraid to report anything. She thought they would kill her. She stays in the house. It's just so sick that this is still happening. So yeah. I suggest you read the article. But just to kind of know that, you know, things are still happening against people who feel, you know, they're witchcraft or sorcery or, things that maybe we consider paranormal and safe to talk about. They are not.
Yeah. No, there's a lot of places.
Over there.
I mean, there's a lot of places we would be burned at the stake for doing this show. No joke.
For sure.
No joke.
No joke. No.
And we need to remember that, folks. Remember that.
Especially when you're very upset with how things happen in our societies, and it's not just the U.S., but more, what do I want to say, democratic societies. We have a lot of freedoms that we
and
are
it's not that
you're not
literally
in other...
having these discussions in some places in the world, think about it, would lead to you being killed very quickly. And we forget that. We forget that. All right. Well, the mystery continues. General McCasland, Neil McCasland, he disappeared. Gosh, I don't know how long ago that's been. It's been several weeks, a few weeks, February 27th. And the mystery deepens. His wife has pushed back against the idea that he had dementia. She said it's misinformation. She dismissed rumors about a concerning phone call. And she says that she does not believe it has any connection whatsoever due to classified knowledge from his military career or any kind of ties to the UFO community. But, and this is from Newsweek, what do I call it? Newsweek. Newsleak. We'll have the link in the show notes. But Representative Eric Burleson of Missouri said McCasland has a lot of information regarding UFOs. Now, this was an interesting statement. Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office, Lieutenant Kyle Woods was asked about some of the more outlandish claims. And he said, and I thought this was interesting, just because it's crazy doesn't mean it's not true, but we have to look into the realities. And so we look into what's brought to us, and then we have to pursue the facts we can find. I appreciate that there's a community that wants to go down the rabbit hole of UFOs. I don't have a way with which to pursue that. And so those theories have to be set aside unless we were to find something that indicated that. So we can only go off of fact at this point. But I don't think he was dismissive. I mean, I think that was a fair statement.
Well, especially where in his position as a sheriff and a county, he does not, but the FBI does, and they're there.
And I think because they had a silver alert on him, everybody just assumed he had dementia. Yes. But here, Sheriff John Allen said, basically, if you're over 50 years of age, so it means if we were in New Mexico and something happened to us, we'd have a silver alert, which makes me feel really old. He did state that McCasland was experiencing a mental fog, and because of this information we received, we decided to do a silver alert. The sheriff added that the mental fog was cited as reasons for stepping down from different groups that he's working with. I'll just throw this out there, and this is a little bit of speculation, but let's say that you were stressed about maybe something you saw while you were in the government, and maybe that was going to be disclosed. Would that contribute possibly to maybe some mental consternation or, dare I say, a mental fog? But anyway, and he went on to say, arguably, he would still be the most intelligent person in the room that any of us would be in. Highly intelligent, highly capable, but that information was given to us early on, and out of abundance of caution, we escalated to a silver work to try to garner as much public attention as possible to try to help locate him as soon as possible. So, I mean, so yeah. And then there was another article here from Men's Journal just saying how kind of weird this has gotten. Now, this was strange. His wife, Susan McCasland Wilkerson, she confirmed in a lengthy Facebook post on March 6th that he was associated with, quote, the UFO community, but added, Neil does not have any special knowledge about the ET bodies and debris from the Roswell crash stored at Wright Pat. That is an interesting statement.
Yes,
because she's basically saying that they were stored at Wright-Patterson. I don't know if that's what she intended, but if you read that sentence literally,
yes,
the ones stored at Wright-Pat. That means they were stored at Right Pat.
Stored at Right Pat.
But he doesn't have any
I thought
knowledge.
the same thing when I saw that.
Though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best. Now here she kind of took and again, it's a horrible situation. Her spouse is, so
absolutely.
I could totally understand being maybe a little bit miffed, but she went on to say, though at this point, with absolutely no sign of him, maybe the best hypothesis is that aliens beamed him up to the mothership. However, no sightings of a mothership hovering above the Sandia Mountains have been reported. So I think that was more sarcasm.
Well, imagine what this woman is probably going through and who's coming out of the woodwork to like, I don't want to use the word harass, but maybe
they're probably contacting her.
Yes. Yes. Can you imagine how many reporters and then just people involved in the UFO community and UAP communities that are probably, hey, what do you know? And, everybody trying to get a scoop. She's probably like just frazzled and has had enough, so that I can understand it. I'm sorry, I can. But that other statement I thought was kind of interesting.
Now, she says, and I recommend reading this article, but she goes on to say a lot of different things. Neil's at some risk, but not from dementia. There was no Friday morning telephone call to a close relative. She said it's true. When Neil was in the Air Force, he had access to some highly classified programs and information. He retired from the Air Force almost 13 years ago and has had very commonly held clearances since then. It seems quite unlikely that he was taken to extract very dated secrets from him. I will say this. I'll give a little bit of pushback on that. If it's a big enough secret, even if it's dated, and this is the secret, right? So, I don't know if that's...
It's happening all at a very interesting time as well.
She admits Neil had a brief association with the UFO community through Tom DeLonge, former frontman for 182 and founder of the organization To the Stars. Yeah. So,
Blink 182,
and there's,
right?
Blink 182. She goes on to say several things there. And again, we wish him the best. We wish his family the best. And it's a very unfortunate.
I just hope he's found very soon and safe and healthy. Yeah. Well, today, it goes with Nancy Guthrie too. I don't understand what's happening, and we had a brief discussion on Virtual Campfire Group, virtualcampfiregroup.com. It's free. Go there with Elizabeth, one of our members, and she said you'd be surprised how many elders go missing every year. She gave a number. Of course, I didn't write it down and remember it. 65,000. I don't know. I don't want to put words
right.
But there's tons that go missing. So It's sad. It's a very sad situation.
Indeed, it is. And
this is sad too.
Yeah, I was about to say you have some really sad stories today. I got
some bad news stories this week, but and I know this is from the Sun, but it doesn't make it less true. Sun.co.uk.
We should say, I'm not big on trigger warnings, but in this case, maybe it's worth mentioning. This does cover the topic of sexual assault. So
it does, unfortunately. So John Starkey, a psychic who has appeared on television, he has admitted, according to this article, sexually assaulting women during clairvoyant sessions. So as we've been talking about you getting scammed with money, he was doing quite the opposite, which wasn't good either at all. He was due to stand trial at Mold Crown Court in North Wales, but he changed his pleas and admitted 3 charges of sexual assault. His 74-year-old was first investigated by cops when a woman said he had assaulted her in Wolverhampton in 2018. Several months later, he lured the same woman to a London hotel room after falsely telling her other clients would be attending a meeting there. And he assaulted her under the pretense of a twisted initiation. So just disgusting. He did this to a couple other women. And he claims to be, quote, an internationally renowned clairvoyant with 40 years of experience. Well, if you're such a clairvoyant, wouldn't you know that if you were doing this kind of crap to women that you would be arrested and put in jail, you stupid idiot? I'm sorry. I just don't, I just cannot deal with people like this. I'm sorry. It's disgusting. And then here we go again. This just kind of adds fuel to the fire that psychics are a scam and they're no good. And yes, some of them are not good. And some of them are wonderful people who do have a gift. And I think this is disgusting. So
yeah,
there you go.
There you have it. There you have it.
Because we're on camera, I'm not using a lot of words I probably would have used. He makes me sick.
And maybe a prescribed punishment that you would suggest in normal terms.
Oh, I have plenty. Stand in line.
All very
I'm sure many other women would like to help.
Well, that's the unkindest cut of all. No, but
if you're reading between that line, did you mean it that way?
Actually, yes, I did.
Okay,
but actually, that would be it may be unkind, but it would be appropriate if the person is found guilty of these things. If the person is found
apparently
guilty
he was. He came forward and admitted to.
Well,
the
yeah,
police.
that's right.
I always
err, guys. I always err on the side of that, guys. So I'm just that's my default is always.
No. I know you've taught me to do that too, but he admitted. The article says he admitted to these things. So.
The U.S. government has not admitted that the Majestic 12 UFO files are real.
Shocking.
In fact, they have called them over the years. They've been dismissed as fake by the FBI. And again, these documents, and this is from Daily Mail, allege that a group of 12 high-ranking military and scientific officials secretly spent more than 2 decades investigating crashed alien craft, studying non-human technology, and attempting to communicate with extraterrestrials. But the FBI over the years has said, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. Apparently, there is a researcher out there who is anonymous, and he has found clues that they absolutely are authentic. What he's done is he's taken a look at, when these first came out, a lot of the other CI files had not been released, right? Mm. So there's nothing to compare them against. But now many of those files have been released. For example, if folks are familiar, there was an operation called Operation Paperclip after the Second World War to bring Nazi scientists scientists who had served for the Nazis in World War II over to the American side to keep them from the Soviet side in order to build rockets and nuclear weapons and those kind of things. So they took the markings from those documents and other documents and compared them to the supposedly fake Majestic 12 documents, and they found commonalities in the documents that would not have been known by the, quote, hoaxers.
Interesting.
Yes. The researcher examined MJ12 files shared by Ryan Wood, a UFO investigator and author who possesses physical copies of documents that first leaked to the public in the 80s. Wood told the Daily Mail that the archive includes more than 3,500 government documents referencing the mysterious group and the secret projects it allegedly conducted. So now, whereas before they could say, well, it's fake, now you have something to compare to known, good, real documents. It's like, oh, they mysteriously have the same codes on them. Codes that a hoaxer would not know. So there you go. And I recommend that you read this. I mean, it's becoming...
I knew nothing about the Majestic 12 prior to
this. This is...
I know but I don't know.
But it's been, for years, it's been...
they just dismissed it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, here, listeners, the files, many of which were never added to the CIA's archive, stated that MJ12 oversaw 4 specific projects charged with communicating with aliens, researching UFOs, recovering crashed alien ships, and testing out advanced technology. The MJ12 files noted it took 5 years before they finally made successful contact with UFOs in 1959, noting that the group established primitive communication with the aliens using binary codes sent by radio.
Ooh.
And the documents also speculate that there was a meeting between Air Force and extraterrestrials in 1964. There you go. So, again, I don't know that it's absolute proof, but it's sure interesting.
We don't know.
Yeah.
We don't.
Well, but this This next story that you're going to talk about, I feel a personal connection to this because this is something we've been talking about.
We need the money.
Yeah, we don't have the money.
This. We don't have the money, but we need the money because we have talked about this prior to this article coming out, and it's not why she's talking about it. Anyway, this article's from themirror.co.uk. She says, I'm a psychic, and I'm urging people to buy a generator now. So Psychic Kelly has predictions about what the remainder of 2026 is going to look like for the United States. And she says there's just going to be a lot of upheaval and all kinds of stuff. But one of the biggest predictions she has is concerning electricity and energy supplies in homes. She said there's going to be either a nationwide or even a statewide power outage. And I think they'll have a really lame excuse for it, too. That's what she told her followers on TikTok. She added, so if you've been thinking about getting a generator, it might be a good time. So supporting her theory is this other guy, Athos Salome, a mystic whose precise predictions have earned him the title of the modern Nostradamus. I feel like everybody's being called the modern Nostradamus. But anyway, he told in the Express that in 2026, we can anticipate a massive solar storm, which could trigger a widespread power outage. Yeah. So they feel like the solar storms are likely the most plausible scenario to have such an immediate impact on daily life. And this deserves full focus, not out of fear, but due to measurable signals in synchrony with potential power cuts, communication failures, and technological disruptions in affected regions. We talked about getting a generator because you and I don't feel the power grid is very
the power grid sucks.
Thank you. Well, proving we had this windstorm, right? I forgot how many thousands of people we were spared. We were spared. I had a friend who
didn't have, a
but
wind
just a few
blows,
streets away, he did not have power
for a day and a half.
And there's people, Jim. There were people that still didn't have power until yesterday morning from storms that happened on Friday.
When I was a kid, no, seriously,
I know what you're about to say.
My electricity went out, I think, in my whole childhood once for a lengthy period of time, like a day and a half. And that was because somebody hit a utility pole. That was it. Now, I lived in kind of an industrial area. I mean, there were train tracks. I didn't live on the wrong side of the tracks. I lived on the tracks.
There you go.
Almost. But the point is that very rarely. I mean, when you turned on the lights worked. When you picked up the phone, it was a old school dial. Yeah. It worked. I don't remember the phone ever going out. And it just feels
our
like
phone never went out ever.
Everything now is like it's built on castles on clouds. Yeah, exactly. One good stiff wind and it's all going to fail. And so we have seriously talked, and because of my job. But the problem is I was telling somebody, because all the radio stations I worked at, they always had a generator. And you knew when the power went out, you'd hear that generator. It's kind of like this. We've got shows to come out and we've got obligations.
Well,
and we have to release it. This is our living.
So imagine you couldn't go to work. Yeah.
I was definitely going to get a generator. And then the only problem is that, especially with doing video, I might have electricity, but then I won't have strong internet. So that I have basic internet. I've got some backup systems, but for uploading videos and stuff, it wouldn't do the trick. So it's just like, oh my gosh. It's like, what do you do? What do you do?
I'm not a roughing it kind of person, but I'm also not so frou-frou that I need like lights on in every room and I have to have the television on. No. But I would like
or
if
even
things
air
happen
conditioning. I don't need air. I can live without air conditioning a couple of days. Well, fan is nice, but
I get overheated. I don't care about air, but I need a fan.
Yeah.
I need my refrigerator to work, my freezer to work.
Yes.
So we don't lose thousands of dollars of food
Which
we have
happened.
How many times. Those are some, I guess basic frou-frou stuff. But but we would, even just the gas powered generators are an issue because then can you get gasoline and then how does a whole house generator, those are like tens of thousands of dollars.
The whole house generator would be the way to go, but it's too damn expensive.
Yeah, because by the time you get it and then have somebody install it,
you have to have a concrete pad, and you have to connect it to your gas, and then you have to get your gas line expanded because it's not strong enough. It's just a lot. But I'm telling you, I think that psychic's onto something.
So be prepared, everybody. Get something for backup.
I think that psychic's onto something. I think she's onto something.
I do too. That's weird. I do too, though. I really do.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Speaking of being onto something, this next article, my last article for this week, I know you've got another one after this, is a great article from livescience.com. And the headline piece. Yeah, but I like this a lot.
But no, that's why I put it in here, because it's very well written, I thought.
Yeah. By Daryl Evans, the government is very serious about UFOs, so why are researchers being stymied? Plus, I love any sentence that includes the word stymie. But basically, he goes on to make the point that the president has directed the Pentagon and other federal agencies to begin releasing government files related to UFOs. Congress formally mandated UAP investigations through the National Defense Authorization Act in December 22. AARO carries a caseload exceeding 2,000 reports dating back to 1945, which was confirmed by Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth earlier this year. But yet, it goes on to say modern research universities remain almost entirely absent from the conversation. No major university has established a dedicated UAP research center. No federal science agency offers competitive grants for UAP inquiry. No doctoral programs train research in UAP methodology, and the gap between what governments openly acknowledge and what universities are willing to study is at this point difficult to explain on purely intellectual grounds. Now,
I have an answer for all of that. Green.
Well, but Bunny. It's not only green. No. It's not that. Why aren't they they give grants for everything? You know, it's like,
I know. Many, so why aren't they not? Because they don't want everyone to know.
People saying, I cry. Listen to this. No, this actually surprised me, because I always think of academics as very I don't believe in that stuff. Across 14 disciplines at 144 major U.S. research universities, 1,460 faculty responded to a 2023 national survey. Most surveyed believed UAP research was important. Curiosity outweighed skepticism in every discipline that was part of the study. Nearly 1/5 had personally observed something aerial they could not identify, but yet fewer than 1% had ever conducted UAP research. So they're not getting money. Also, they're afraid of the stigma.
Right.
Researchers were not primarily deterred by intellectual skepticism because they doubted the topic's merits. Instead, they feared they might lose funding, face ridicule from colleagues, or find their careers quietly derailed.
Yeah, see?
Faculty reported being told to, quote, be careful. So the thing is that, here's the thing. When he says, well, the government's for this, and why is it not happening? I think we make one mistake. We think of the government as a monolith. We think of it as unified. I've said this for years. I believe there is currently a push and pull within elements of our government. There are people like the Rubios, Burlesons, Burchetts, people like that, Moskowitz, people who want to get the public more information. And there are people who want to basically say, nothing to see here. And it's like a hall of mirrors, because I think some people who you think are on your side, they're not on your side. AARO, which was supposed to be the big thing that was going to bring everything out. Joke. We saw what Dr. Sean Kirkpatrick had to say about the UFO community, basically blasting it as a religion. Is that really an honest broker? I don't think so. So the point is that part of the government wants disclosure and a huge part does not. And that explains, in my opinion, a lot of this.
I think the same can be said for scientists as well. So which articles make it in mainstream media? Which articles are making it in these scientific journals? Not the ones from the 1460 scientists that do have some belief in this, not those. Those aren't getting there. And I read recently, Avi Loeb had a great point about his whole 3-eye atlas thing. He had done a research study with another scientist, and they didn't get published. But one of the other things that kind of goes with the mainstream, they got published in it, and it's this pick and choose. So I think that's what's happening with science as well, and what's happening in journalism. They're going to pick the popular stance, and they're not going to report or research the fringe, as they call it.
Well, I will say this: I think science is great, but I also think when it comes to publishing and those kind of things in academia, having been exposed to it a little bit. And getting a graduate degree.
Political.
That's exactly what I was going to say.
My
words out of mouth. Yes. It's political, and sometimes it's corrupt, in my view.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So there's this thing, scientists, it's like the high priest. They're honorable, and it's like,
I'm published.
It's just like the psychics. It's just like the psychics. You know, people say, there's these bad psychics. They're all bad. Well, I got news for you. In every walk of life, there are people who are dishonest. There are people who, will shade the truth to fit their narrative. The point is that just because somebody has the label of researcher or scientist, I think there's this thing,
PhD. They're a doctor.
They know everything. Or they're totally honest. Don't buy it. Don't buy it. No. Although science still does a lot of great things. Both things can be true at the same time.
Well, that's the problem. You can walk and chew gum at the same time, but apparently we're being taught we can't do that.
Well, we will see what develops. Hopefully more research will come now. Now, here comes Dar's paranoia is real.
We need the weird news.
She's actually justified.
Ding, 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 ding. We need the weird news
music. Yeah, I got to do that.
Yeah, Jim, get on that. I know. Add it to your list of...
This one goes under... They're coming to take me away, ha ha, ho ho, hee hee. Where I can be with this nice young man with the gun coats, and they're coming to take me away, ha ha. Anyway, go ahead.
Anyway, very well done, dear.
Not really. I did it better in practice.
Mystery. You did do it better before, but that's okay.
My voice is giving. I don't know if you noticed. My voice is giving.
Oh, I noticed completely. Right from the when it started, I was like, I
have a frog in my throat.
Dehydrated. Throat clears are not good. Don't do throat clears. Speech therapist talking. Throat clears very bad for your vocal cords. But anyway, unexplained-mysteries.com. Here's their bizarre story of the week. Robot is arrested by police after harassing a woman in China. A humanoid Unitree G1 robot was escorted away by police because it had been following a pedestrian. And I will post this article. You have to see it's like a 12-second clip of what happened. This poor 70-year-old woman was walking just down the street and she got a scare because this stinking robot's following her. So she turns around, she stares at it, right? And he stands there, the robot, and he starts putting his arms up in the air like this. He's getting kind of, I don't know, I would feel threatened if this pile of metal is doing this in front. And so she's shouting at it angrily and she points her hand at it. She's carrying groceries and she kind of swipes at it a little bit. Police got there. She started to tell them she wasn't feeling well. They took her to the hospital and they escorted the robot away. And the clip is very funny because they're walking this robot down the street. Funny, but not funny, right? Because so she said she wasn't going to file a complaint against the robot's operator.
I thought she said against the robot. Yeah.
Yeah, really. But nobody knows why it was following her in the first place. So everybody, this article is saying, is this what's to come? So
and maybe I missed it while I was trying to get my throat to work again. But was it a remote control situation where this guy was remote contrling, or was it
this article does
omniscient?
Not say that.
Not omniscient, prescient.
You don't see anybody in the clip, just the robot. I guess the original article here, let me take a look. It was from Mail Online. I don't know if they're saying anything extra. So she stopped to check her phone. The robot halted behind her, waiting for her to clear the path. But it kept following her. So I don't think I don't think they mentioned nothing about the bot. Apparently, she said, "You're making my heart race." She told the robot. She was screaming at it. Somebody said, "Are you freaking crazy?" I think she said. Oh, okay. While the robot was not, this is a quote from Mail Online. I'll include this. Well, the robot was not officially arrested. Police did remove it from the scene and returned it to its operator, a man in his 50s, who was reminded to exercise caution.
Well, I mean, how could they arrest the robot? It's an inanimate object.
Well, they took it away. You should see how it's walking him. The police is
doing the
walking
perp walk.
it down. It is. I like that. Good one, Jim. Ding, ding, ding. 2 thumbs up. Very good. There we go. 2 thumps up.
2 thumbs up. I once taught a class, and I got back the reviews
at Cleveland State.
And the one person said 2 thumbs up. And it's like, thanks, I guess.
PB dyslexia, maybe? I don't know.
Oh, that was.
Well, no, but I mean, like, you confused a P and a B. Thumps. 2 thumbs up. Woo-hoo.
I must have taught that person a lot. But anyway, 2 thumbs. Now when something's good, we're like 2 thumbs up.
2 thumbs up. There we go.
All right. Well, we've
That'll
done it for another week. That'll do it. No. Yeah. If you haven't fallen asleep yet.
For this marathon session.
Whew. I'm tired. My voice is giving out. But anyway, well, thank you, everybody. Make sure to check out our virtual campfire group at virtualcampfiregroup.com. And we have I don't want to say really big sale because somebody else uses that, but we have a big sale in the merch store for something. Tell people about that.
Yeah. So Jim's book 6 of True Ghost Stories, volume 6. We have a nice inventory that we would like to clear down a little bit.
Right.
So
right.
We've put the autographed book.
No, not everything. Just this book. Just this book.
The autographed personalized version only on Etsy, not if you go on Amazon to buy it. That's not personalized. But if you want Jim to say something quippy, I have to give a shout out to one of our virtual campfire group members, Alan. Mm-hmm. He always buys merch and he has Jim sign it with the best.
Yeah, the one time it was, I'm rooting really hard for the Kansas City Royals to win the AL Central. If anybody knows baseball, they know that the Cleveland Guardians are in the AL Central, and I would never rule, I have always actually kind of liked the Royals, but I would never root for them over the Cleveland team. But he made me write that, and I did, but then I put a big sticky note saying, I'm lying. And then this last one, if anybody follows
he did buy a book 6, which is awesome.
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Alan. And, I'm a big NFL fan, big Browns fan, was not a big fan of our former head coach, Kevin Stefanski. I just thought he was overrated and not very good. Just my opinion, probably a very nice man. Just as a football coach, I did not care for him. And I'd expressed that in many terms over the years. But the point was, it said, he wanted me to write, I really miss Coach Stefanski. And I wrote, hey, he paid his money. As long as nobody has me say something vulgar or something. But
no, within reason, but you'll write whatever. So
yeah, but the point was I also put in a little sticky note. Of course, I'm lying.
But no, so there you go. So get to the merch store, jimharrell.com/merch, and you can books are on sale for $14.99. So Jim will write
significant savings.
Yeah. So Jim will autograph it, personalize it any which way you would like. A couple people wanted me to sign it too, so I did. But it is Jim's book.
No, I'm more than glad to have both of
us
sign it. Sign it.
Head on
sign
over
us,
there.
Sign it.
Sign us? No, don't
sign
us.
I'm going to go gargle with salt water or something. And thank you so much for tuning in.
IV. I'm telling you, you need hydration.
Hey, again, we're not doing the live reads, but I still love Liquid IV. We still use it. I told you we use these products. So
we do.
Liquid IV. I don't. Get Liquid IV. It's awesome. All right. Well, we'll talk to you next time and have a great week, everybody. Come on, dance.
Bye.
Now.
Teddy, want to dance? Teddy had to come up on my lap. Ooh.
Stay spooky.
This poor dog. Baby.